Chapter 4. Portrait of the Unseen. The next morning. The fog still lay thick over the manor, curling around the towers like living tendrils. I dressed quickly and made my way into the main hall, determined to explore a little more before the staff became fully active. The corridors were quiet, almost unnaturally so, as if the house itself were listening. I passed a series of portraits I hadn't noticed the night before. Most were of the Harrowgate lineage, stiff, formal figures with eyes that seemed to weigh and measure me. But one portrait froze me in place. It hung alone on a wall at the far end of the grand hall, slightly larger than the others. The frame was intricately carved, dark wood polished to a muted shine. The figure it depicted was unfamiliar, tall, thin, dressed in old-fashioned finery, and yet impossibly lifelike. His eyes were dark, and they seemed to shift when I blinked, following me as I stepped closer. A shiver ran down my spine. I had seen many portraits in my time, but never one that felt aware. I tried to convince myself it was the angle of the light, the flicker of the candles. Yet the longer I stared, the more certain I became that the figuresque expression changed when I was in tea looking directly at it, subtle but unmistakable. A half smile, a tightening of the jaw, a glance sideways that vanished if my eyes met it. I reached out as if to touch the frame, when the butler's voice interrupted me. "Baron Harrowgate favored that painting," he said, standing silently behind me. His tone carried no warmth, only an unspoken warning. "If you care to look at it for long." "Why?" I asked. The butler's gaze did not falter, 'cause some eyes are best left unobserved. I tried to focus on other portraits, but my attention kept snapping back to that one figure. Something about it, perhaps the gaze, perhaps the imperceptible movements made the hair on the back of my neck prickle. Later, I wandered through the corridors, and more subtle horrors made themselves apparent. A flicker in the corner of my eye, a shadow where there should be none, a draft that seemed to move against logic. The house was awakening, and I was beginning to understand that it had been waiting for me. By evening, I could not shake the feeling that I was being watched, followed even. Every painting, every doorway, every darkened corridor seemed to whisper of things long buried, things that should not be disturbed. And in the back of my mind I knew the east wing was no ordinary room, and whatever lay behind that locked door was tied to the very soul of the manor, and now to mine. That night, sleep came fitfully, and when it did, it brought nightmares, endless corridors, laughing eyes, whispers calling my name. I woke before dawn, drenched in sweat, convinced the portrait had smiled at me in my sleep.